Immediately after Vanellope Hope Wilkins was born, she was wrapped in sterile plastic to protect her heart, which was beating outside her tiny chest. It was a moment that her parents, Dean Wilkins and Naomi Findlay, had hoped for but were not certain would actually come, a moment in which their baby girl would come into the world, and live. The newborn, who was born November 22 at Glenfield Hospital in Leicester, England, was delivered by caesarean section several weeks premature with a rare and often fatal congenital condition called ectopia cordis, in which the heart is growing either completely or partially outside the chest cavity. Most babies born with the malformation are stillborn or they do not survive long after birth. It was overwhelming, wasn't it? Wilkins, from Bulwell, Nottingham, recently asked Findlay about the birth of their first child, according to BBC News. It was very overwhelming, she agreed. Especially the part where we were just staring at each other because we didn't want to be told what was happening while it was happening. But, as soon as we heard her cry, that was it, Wilkins said, turning toward Findlay. We had a little cry, didn't we? She started, it's like we held our breath through it all. For her, Wilkins added, talking about their daughter. The details came in a statement Wednesday from the University Hospitals of Leicester NHS Trust, where dozens of doctors, nurses and clinical staffers worked together late last month to deliver Vanellope and give her a chance to live. A pediatric cardiologist there said the newborn may become the first to survive the condition in the United Kingdom. 3 goodbyes in 3 days, why these parents watched their children die at home. In June, Wilkins and Findlay learned they were expecting their first child, according to the statement from hospital. They also learned early on that the fetus had an extremely rare condition and were told about the potential risks that she could have other chromosomal abnormalities or other issues, and that she could die before she would ever get to live. Scans showed that her heart and stomach growing outside her developing body. Weeks later, her stomach had entered her torso, but her heart had not. The soon-to-be parents rejected advice to terminate the pregnancy. They sought help from specialists. They underwent blood tests to determine whether the fetus had major genetic disorders. When the results of that test came back as low risk of any abnormalities, we jumped up and down in the living room and cried, Wilkins said in the statement from the hospital. At that point we decided to fight to give our daughter the best chance of surviving. So the couple continued on. And on that Wednesday morning in November, less than an hour after Vanellope was born, after she was put in a sterile plastic bag to protect her heart, and after she was given a breathing tube and fluids and medications to help her heart beat strong, she was ready to undergo complex surgery to put it into place. At around 50 minutes of age, it was felt that Vanellope was stable enough to be transferred back to the main theater where she had been born to the waiting anesthetists, congenital heart disease and pediatric surgical teams who began the task of putting her entire heart back inside her chest. Jonathan Cusack, a consultant neonatologist within the hospital system, said in the statement.